Hello, my divine masculine. I wanted to touch base with you because I have a suspicion, intuition, that some of you have been going through some things. And it's not probably very comfortable for you. So here's the situation. We hear a lot about how women are preferring to stay single because, quite honestly, well, first and foremost, we don't like to be used and abused. I'm not saying that that's you that have done that. Chances are abusers aren't going to be on my channel, and if they are, they won't stay long. That's okay. So the situation is this. I've been finding and knowing that those of us that have left abusive or toxic situations, and when I say abuse, know that there are forms of psychological and emotional abuse that happen in relationships that can be documented, but there's no real evidence for any of us to kind of pursue that. We just know it and we heal from it. And divine masculine, I'm aware that this has happened to some of you as well. It's not just the masculine doing this to the feminine or the men doing this to the women. I want to explain something about feminine and masculine because we have both within us. I present in this physical body as a female woman, but I embody on the energetic level as feminine and masculine. When I'm in my masculine energy, that's the doer. That's the building the empire, the doing, the getting things done. When I'm in the masculine energy or the feminine energy, that is the nurturing, the growing. So the masculine will plant the seed, the feminine will nurture and grow it. Men can also have the feminine in them, and it comes out, I've noticed, most generally when they're with their children, not as the protector, because that's the masculine aspect, but when they're in that gentleness with their children, the playing and the nurturing, that's the feminine. Men have that as well. So when I refer to you as the divine masculine, let me just call you, this one's for the men. Because here's the situation that I have noticed. We live in a society where both the men and the women have been so effectively harmed and conditioned and damn near destroyed on the masculine, feminine, spiritual plane. So the masculine or the man is basically designed and wired to be the provider, the protector, and the guide. And when I say guide, I don't mean control. When a feminine or a female or a woman is in her emotional chaos, it is as if the man is, or masculine is, to step in and guide, holding a space, not controlling, not belittling, patronizing, but just holding that solid, grounded space for her to work through that. And when you have a man or a woman on the masculine energy, instead of holding that space, is now gaslighting or causing that chaos by gaslighting, breadcrumbing, belittling, patronizing, cheating, all the things that happen that can happen in relationships. So we are at a time now where women have just been absolutely fed the fuck up with taking care of man children that can't take care of themselves or being used and abused. And I know that this has happened to a few of my brothers as well. Okay, so if you're watching this, I'm not saying that you are the one that has done this. Chances are you've had this happen to you by a feminine who is unregulated. So what happens is that when women are unhealed and wounded, they allow for this to happen. We're not meant to be allowing this to happen, not men or women. And that's why a lot of people are deciding to stay single. And it's been noticed a lot in the feminine community. But let's be honest, I mean, you can't have 1,000 feminine females single without the men noticing it, and in turn putting them to be single as well, because I mean, it's equal. There's probably more men on this earth than women, I think, statistically, but we don't need to go there. I think you understand what I'm saying, that what happens in women's life affects the men. What happens in men's lives affects the women, both the masculine and feminine. And so what I've noticed is happening is that women are holding back, choosing to stay single, build their careers, and we're standing in our power. We've had enough of the wounded men that are abusive. And for those of you that are healed, man, hats off to you. You've done a lot of work to get there, and it hasn't been easy. And what I've been noticing in society, as a lot of men are going through some shit right now, some really heavy emotional stuff. And we live in a society that has not allowed men to express their feelings. They've had to shove them down. Be a man, don't cry. And this has been so harmful to them, to you, because showing emotion is strength, not weakness. And because your ability as men to do that has been essentially taken away, it's difficult for a lot of men to even describe, define, or label what they're feeling. No one's taught us that. Women, because we come more from the emotion, we can describe it, or not always, not all women, but we can describe it or label it much easier than men, and that's not fair, really. So I think it's important that even if you can't define or describe that emotion, pay attention to where it hits you in your physical body, in the throat, in the head, in the chest, in the stomach, and just let it be there. Even if you can't label it or describe it, just let it be there, and then release it after you've spent time with it. Here's the most difficult thing going through this process is looking at, not blaming other people and what they did to us, but looking at our part in it. Did we allow it? Did we speak up for ourselves? Did we set boundaries? Did they continue to break those boundaries and we stayed year after year after year? They would break those boundaries, belittle us, patronize, degrade, and we stayed, both men and women. We stayed in the abuse, thinking it would get better, hoping it would get better, or they had us so isolated from anything and anyone and convinced that they're all we're going to have because of past mistakes we made that they hold over our head that we were ashamed of. When you look at all the mistakes you've made, or because really they weren't really mistakes, they were learning lessons, right? And when you're no longer feeling shame or guilt about anything that has happened in the past that you did or didn't do, no one can use that against you anymore, which then puts you in a position to not settle, which is a very wonderful position to be in. So I think that's what the feminine are trying to say. We're not going to settle anymore. And I think what's happening is that energy is spinning the men into forcing you into awakening and to healing, whether you like it or not. And it's not comfortable because you were never taught to feel or given the opportunity to feel or to show emotion. And I'm sorry for that. I truly am sorry for that, because I know a lot of you are hurting right now. You truly are. And I want you to know that as a feminine who's gone through the soul shadow work, and I mean, I'm not 100% there. I think I still have triggers, and that's okay, because we deal with them as they come up. But here's the thing. I'm proud of you. I am so very proud of you. This is not easy. If it's not easy for women who have been always the emotional ones, which is kind of the way it's been used against us, is derogatory, but I mean, if it's difficult for us to go through all that emotion, I can only imagine what it's like for the men to be going through that when they were never allowed to feel, or had to suppress it or shove it down. If you grew up in the day, back in the day when they would like, shut up or I'll give you something to cry about, or stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Well, I'm crying because I have something to cry about to begin with, right? Yeah. A lot of us have mother wounds and father wounds, and those are what need to be healed. And knowing that they did the best they could with where they were at, we're not blaming them. We're making it clear that, hey, this is what they did caused this, but now I'm responsible for healing this, whatever that this is. Psychological abuse, emotional abuse, physical, sexual abuse, whatever it is, not being allowed to feel, or having to be the people pleaser, or having to absolutely change your very existence, personality, and character just to survive. And now being in a place in your life where you can finally be who your higher self was intended to be, and not knowing who or what the hell that is, that's difficult. You have catastrophic events. The woman you loved for so many years that you thought you'd spend the rest of your life with, you'd have children with, and then she leaves you for another man. Or no matter what you did, it was never good enough. Or she cheated on you. I mean, this doesn't just happen to women, it happens to my brothers too. And I want you to know that I know that. And that you don't deserve any of it. None of us do. That's difficult to process through for anybody. And if you don't have the words, that's okay. You don't have to label it. But please just feel through it and know your part in it. Know your part in it. Because once you know your part, you'll never allow it to happen to you again. You'll never settle for less than what you deserve, and you deserve the best. You deserve the best once you get through to that healing. If you're coming from a place of hurt, woundedness, that's the energy you're going to draw in. Probably not a good time to be having relationships. But once you get through that and you know the errors of your way, no one has a right to abuse us. Especially not physically, psychologically, or emotionally. The psychological and emotional abuse can sometimes be way worse than the physical, because broken bones and bruises fade. They go away. That psychological and emotional abuse can last forever if it's not properly processed through. Processing through it and knowing your part in it will put you in a position to elevate who you are, what you will not tolerate, which will then put you in a higher relationship. I'm not saying that everything's always going to be happiness, puppies, and rainbows, because we're humans, and humans are fucking messy. And there are going to be people that are going to trigger us. Not just the ones we're in relationships, but the asshole at the store that cut you off or banged into you with his cart. I mean, that's showing you something right there, that you have whatever that, if that brings something up. I haven't had that happen to me, but I've seen someone get totally triggered by it, and it was what they had inside. Wayne Dyer said this phrase one time. He said, when you squeeze an orange juice comes out, because that's what's inside. Logical. When you're being squeezed or under a lot of pressure, your reaction, that emotion, that outward anger, frustration, whatever it may be, that's what's inside you. When it's that lower energy, that's what needs to be healed. When you are in a situation where you're being squeezed and you respond, that shows a level of healing that you have done. And I'm noticing that more so in the masculine. I'm also noticing that some of you are appearing to be extremely avoidant, nonchalant, almost ignoring. And we use terms like avoidant like it's a diagnosis, and I'm not doing that here. This is how I'm using the word avoidant. Sometimes I think men get so overwhelmed with emotion that it shuts them down. Not that they're trying to avoid the feeling, but I think sometimes it can get so damn overwhelming. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't know how to move forward. You're so damn confused. And on the outside, it looks like avoidance, like you're just you're not doing anything because you're avoiding it. That's not fair to put that label on to our masculine, because I don't know that it's always necessarily avoidance. Maybe you're trying to avoid your feelings because you don't know how to process through them. But fair enough. I mean, fair enough. Sometimes emotions can be excruciating. They can be heavy, and we need time to process. But the important thing is communication. If you don't know how you feel about a situation, if you can't compartmentalize, if you're feeling overwhelmed, then voice that, because women deserve that. If you're unsure, you can say that. If you're feeling something and you don't know what that feeling is, or you're not sure, or you're insecure, or you're feeling not good enough, or you're feeling like you're lacking, or you're simply uninterested, or simply closed down because you're overwhelmed, communicate that. That's the biggest damage that was done to our men, is that they were never allowed to do that, because it made them weak. No, it doesn't make you weak. Not in my opinion. An effective communicator, someone that can say, I'm overwhelmed with feeling and I don't even know how to compartmentalize this right now. I need a moment. My God, I'd have so much more respect for that than for someone that just walks away and ignores. Even if I know what the walking away and ignoring is. Communication is key. That's the only way any relationships work. At least that's been my experience. Because the shutting down and walking away, avoiding and ignoring, that's harsh. That's really harsh. And it's not deserving to anyone, but it's understood. I'm not making excuses for anyone here. I'm making a space for inner knowing and understanding. Because I think that men that abuse women or children, animals, whatever, those aren't divine masculines. Those are fucking abusers. That's a whole different story. I'm not talking to those here. That's something far beyond the scope that I want to even touch on this YouTube channel, because that's a level that I'm not qualified to speak on, really. Do I understand it, that it's coming from pain, suffering, and immense hurt? Absolutely. Some of it is like people just, some of those types of people don't have feelings at all. Psychopath, sociopath, whatever you want to call it. That's just another damn label. I don't care. I'm not even going there. Again, because I'm not qualified to do so. But those of you that have the feelings and are struggling with them, those of you that have been in relationships where you were psychologically and emotionally abused by your partner, your intimate partner, the one that's supposed to care about you and hold a space of love for you and be there for you, and your teammate, your partner, your ride or die. You didn't deserve that. You didn't deserve that. And if you were the one that cheated, or you were the one that shut down, or you're the one that left and walked out, heal that. You deserve happiness too. Get yourselves right. I say this to the women too. Pull your heads out of your ass, get your shit right. I just know that we're in a time now where I'm feeling the energies, and it feels like the masculine are really being put to the test right now. You're really kind of being forced to look at yourselves and deal with your things that you haven't dealt with, that no one taught you how to deal with emotions that you don't understand or can't label or don't want to feel. Lord knows I had a lot that I didn't want to feel. And looking at yourself and the mistakes you made, but don't take the blame. Do not take the blame. There's no blame in anything for anyone. We're all doing the best we can. You fucked up. You made a mistake. Get it right, heal that, and don't do it again. Or heal yourself so that no one can mistreat you again, because you've been mistreated too. I think all this started, this is just my personal opinion, I think all this started because the masculine has been forever the provider, the protector, and the guide, right? So we live in a society where there was so much war, so many of our masculine were murdered, killed, whatever, however you want to look at it. And here's the thing. Things got so expensive that it took two people to make ends meet, which then in turn, because we lost a lot of our men, or because things got so expensive that the woman had to then remove herself from the home, the nurturing home, where she was to nurture and grow the children. She was removed from that to go out into the world and work. And they call this the feminist movement, and women think, oh, look at how much rights we have. Yes, absolutely. You have the right to work outside the home. Absolutely. You have the right to be an entrepreneur. But here's the thing. If you want to, not because you had to. I know multiple women that would have wanted to stay home and raise those children, and then after the children were raised and left the home, she would want to be an entrepreneur, go out into the workforce, or start her own business. But the thing that happened was, because things got so expensive and because so many of our masculine were gone, men couldn't be the providers anymore. Because it took more than one person. So we took away their ability to provide, or they had to damn near freaking do crazy shit or overextend or work long hours where they're never home just to be able to provide. I'm not saying that women shouldn't work outside the home. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying that women shouldn't stand in their power and be entrepreneurs, because if that's what they choose to be, then they should. But the point I'm trying to make is choice. The choice. So we have the men that are expected, I don't expect this, but by society's fucked up rules, you're supposed to be the provider, the protector, and the guide. but then your ability to do that has been taken away from you. Can't imagine that feels good. And I can't imagine having to be judged by a ruler that's just broken. How can we expect? It doesn't matter. There shouldn't be any expectations. That's the thing. We're all just doing the best we can. And maybe we should take that even out of there, that men should be the providers, protectors, and guides. But that's what you've been designed to do. I didn't make it that way. That's just that's the masculine energy. I don't have all the answers. I just know the energies I'm reading, and I feel like you guys got the fucking raw end of the stick just as much as the women did, and I'm really tired of hearing about how bad the men are, how they're lazy, how they're not doing stuff. That's true for some, but not for all. And I don't think, just like, I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox now. I just want you to know that I realize you're all going through some stuff. And you deserve healing. And you're worthy of it. And you're worth it. And it's not easy. I'm just asking you to communicate. Even if you don't know how to describe or explain, communicate. Because without that, there's no relationship, there's no friendship, there's no buddy, there's no nothing. You can't, there is no relationship that will ever exist or withstand lack of communication. No relationship. And if that's what you choose is not to have one, then keep doing that. I've been isolated. I've been in solitude, which is way different than isolation. I've been in false imprisonment, not just physically feeling, but in the mind, that mental imprisonment. People will do to us what we allow them to. I think that a lot of the feminine are no longer allowing abusive men in their lives. Takers. And you shouldn't either. Don't allow abusive women and takers into your life. Set the boundary and I don't like to use the word expect, and intend that you will have a relationship with someone that will give to you as much as you give. You pour into each other, but you also have to continue to pour into yourselves. You can't lose yourself in another person. That's putting too much responsibility on them. No one's going to make you happy but you. No one's going to give you joy but you. Can you share your path with someone and that amplifies your happiness and joy and your love? Absolutely. But if you're looking for that and to be provided by another person, you will lose every time. You will never truly be happy. You'll never truly have joy. You'll never truly have peace, and you'll never truly have love, because all that is within you. No one can give you that. They can only amplify it. And only you can allow them to take it from you. Keep going. Keep going. You're almost there. Don't stop. And once you get to that level of healedness, that's when the beauty comes in. That's when those, what they call soulmates, I don't really care. I'm so beyond the twin flame soulmate, divine union shit at this point. Because once you know the truth that everything you have, everything you need, everything you desire, and everything you want is within you, all the other stuff is just secondary. Do we need people? Are we codependent? Yes. Codependent in a way that no one can live on this earth by themselves without another person or people. We all need each other in that way. That's what makes us codependent, not in an unhealthy, needy kind of way. but I know you know this. I'm getting off my soapbox. I'm losing my voice, and I don't need to ramble. So just know that I see you. Keep going. I'm really going to look forward to seeing you on the other side. All right. My darling masculine, I'm holding a space for you. I love you with my whole heart.